Welcome to Good News, being brought to you by Listening for Clues.
We are Lauren Welch and John Shematek, deacons in the Episcopal Diocese of Maryland.
We sure are, and today is a very special episode. This is our final recorded episode of our 2023 season of Good News. And so we've asked the third member of our Listening for Clues team, Lynn Shematek, to join us for this farewell episode.
So, John, what was this like to do this podcast for the first time?
Wow, it was an amazing experience. I think we were terrified, we worried about the technology not working, which it did almost all the time. We wondered, would we get any guests who would be interested in coming? And I wondered if we'd really have anything to talk about. And sure enough, I would say things went really smoothly. It was exciting and humbling.
Certainly. I know it was a delight for me to see how many people wanted to share their stories and how many people were doing such wonderful things. I mean, it wasn't hard to get people to sign up. It was delightful.
Both of you asked such wonderful questions because I was in the background clicking everything, and then I would hear the question. I'd think, oh, is that a good question? I like that. And then, we would go and then the conversation would go on a little more, and then you'd ask another question. And it wasn't just John, it wasn't just Lauren, it was both of you together. You can tell you've worked together, I think, a little bit.
For a few years.
Just for a while. But yeah, so I would say all in all, this was just an amazing experience. I think what we should do, Lauren, is thank our guests and just talk about our guests for just a minute.
Our guests span generations from 20 to 80, right? We had many talents, people who were authors and musicians and ran nonprofits, people who were social activists and advocates, volunteers, other podcasters, prophetic voices, and lay people, bishops, priests, and deacons. It was a rich variety of people that signed up to share the good news.
Yeah, so we had 21 guests since mid-June. Every week we had a new guest, and they were all very different, yet in a way they were very much united in their commitment to doing some good in the world, to making the world a better place. And some in a very small way, and others are making a huge impact. But we hope that our viewers and listeners had a chance to hear some of these stories and to start thinking about, gosh, is this something I could do? Do I want to be part of that thing? Or should I even think about starting my own? So even if one person did that, I would think this would be a success. But earlier today, Lynn asked me about the numbers of people that viewed our podcast or listened to it. We have our website, Listening for Clues, which hosts all of our podcasts, and we had just about 2,000 page views to Listening for Clues since mid-June, since we started this program. On YouTube, which is where we're hosting all of our videos, but just started to promote that a little bit, we've had almost 1,400 views of our Good News videos. And on Captivate, which is our audio podcast host, we had something like about 500 downloads of the audio podcast. So a lot of people have been listening, watching, taking part, and hopefully being inspired by them. So that's just great. We said this is our last episode of 2023. Are we done? Are we coming back? Lauren, what are we going to do?
We're going to come back in 2024 for season 2, and we look forward to people signing up. Before that, we're going to have a mini-series the end of November, and we'll tell you more about that as time goes on.
Right, so kind of stay tuned. Next week we'll put out a publication that talks about what's coming up in our mini-series. We'll have some great folks lined up for next year already for coming back to more episodes of Good News, and we're hoping that even others will join us as we move forward in spreading the good news about people who are making a difference in the world.
And before we go, we want to thank all of our listeners and viewers. We can't do this without you. So we look forward to seeing you next year. Until next time, peace and blessings.
Please visit our website, listeningforclues.com, where you can have access to all of our audio and video podcasts in the 2023 season.